Hello and welcome back to Alpha Tauri. We've had a promising result last time out, so if you've not watched the video, go check that out right now, because we're moving straight on to Monza. There's no real news to speak of, but I thought I'd give you a quick calendar refresh. Now it's Monza now, we'll have Singapore, Japan and Qatar to round off this week's videos, but we have just had the suspension come in. Now I'm not going to rush any further parts for the remainder of the season. Cost cap is a consideration, and whilst I don't think we're really in danger of hitting it as such if we're just a little bit sensible, you always just have to make sure you've got a little bit of room just in case there's any emergency engines in particular that you have to deal with. Because we're still not certain if we might need to take one of each, quite frankly. Certainly one on Yuki Tsunoda at some point, obviously try to avoid his home race of Japan. New suspension in, new ATR period. We will be doing another rear wing design, but this is the point in which we kind of shift everything over to research otherwise, and that's not, free either. So we've got about 27, just to be careful. Now I'll try to leave 10 for two engines, essentially. So we've only really got about 15 if we then just leave a little bit more of a buffer to play with. So we can't just go completely ham on research either. But then again, we've only got two ATR periods now, I think. But there's no fanciness to Monza this year, so it will be just straight up C for qualifying, and then the race. There's a whole raft of penalties if I switch to the other side for, well, both McLarens and Zhou Guanyu. But hopefully we're not in that fight anymore. But Max Verstappen's penalty is curious. Again, we're not in that fight either, but no problems though. Now, I get the feeling that this might be one of the stronger tracks for mitigating the cold tyre problem, just because, of course, you do need to be up to a relatively strong speed to begin a lap here and have it be competent. That's Alexander Albon. I mean, Yuki Tsunoda got a purple first sector there, and we'll see how long that lasts. I mean, Hamilton's done a lap, and we're faster than him. Yeah, I dare say we don't need to go out again. Max Verstappen off the pace. 6/1000 slower than Sainz. Yeah, I had a feeling this might be a particularly potent track for qualifying in such a manner that gives you the advantage. There you go, Max does a representative lap, but we are amongst the chasing pack there. It's only really Stroll we have to worry about. I'm not going again. I feel confident. Stroll goes up to 10th, in fact, so yeah, absolutely fine. And of course, this is a track that benefits us in particular because we're not so good at the cornering, but we are quite good at the straight line stuff, with DRS in particular, which we won't have, obviously, in the race quite as much, but you get DRS as standard in qualifying. So our theoretically potent DRS should be a strength for qualifying purposes. The race might be slightly more problematic on that front, but as long as we get into a tow on someone in the race, we might be okay in the race as well, because we'll be able to keep up with much faster vehicles. Tsunoda goes second. They're used tyres, don't forget, we've still gone faster. Maybe I should have said we could have got into Q3 on my objectives this week, because I only said Q2. I'm not quite so confident with Albon at this point. The two Hasses, Hamilton, Stroll, Leclerc, I mean, basically everyone, actually. It's just Norris I'm not worried about. Tsunoda, I suspect, is a little bit more safe. Trying to think how late I can probably go here. Probably around now? We'll get Albon out first, just in case I've messed this up. Although the Ferrari's gone after me, and they're just doing a regular outlap, so... Trying to think how early I'm going to have to turn the fuel and deployment on, because how do you factor that in? Certainly post-chicane. That should do us, I think. That might have been slightly more awkward, but... I'm not sure Albon got the cleanest of starts there. Everyone might have done their best lap time here, actually. Gasly's on a flying lap, Magnussen, Ocon, Leclerc on either flying or out lap. So there's enough people to knock Albon out. I think Yuki Tsunoda is safe. I think he can only be at worst 10. Albon's done a worst first sector, always helpful. Yuki Tsunoda's done a purple first sector of everyone. Leclerc's crossed the line in 13th. The Ferrari in 13th at Monza. Oh dear. Now, I would bring Yuki Tsunoda in, but if he does a better middle sector, I kind of want to know what his lap time's going to be here. I'm not going to bring him in. I want to see what that is. Albon's surprisingly off it. It's only about a tenth and a half between the pair of them, but Yuki's going to go faster here. Albon shaves a bit off. He went faster in Q1, I think. Oh my god, Yuki. I mean, Verstappen went faster, still, but flipping heck. Oh god, we're going to have a huge confidence issue in this race. But if we hold on to DRSs, we might be all right. So it's 2 rounds of manual in Q3, but both drivers in Q3. I'm actually going to separate them by a little bit more this time. I'm not quite sure why, but Yuki Tsunoda is unbelievable here at Monza. 2 purple sectors. 121.7 from Alex. 121.4 from Yuki. Hopefully that's enough fuel to get them home. It is more than enough. Lovely. Well, certainly going sub 2 minutes was more than enough last time. So Q3 will do the same. Go as late as possible. In fact, quite a lot of people are leaving it relatively late for AI standards. Normally, the majority of them have done something quite a lot earlier here. I'll send him out line astern to hopefully get Alex a little bit more of a slipstream from Yuki in this case to get himself up the order a little bit. Actually sending Yuki first for a change. So how far through the order are we going to get? I think we're going to be trailing Hamilton for the entire lap, which could be problematic actually. Unless he's on an in-lap. That could be a problem for Yuki Tsunoda. Damn. You have to get lucky with this kind of thing. Oh, and Alex has got a similar problem. At the very least, he's going to distract them to make them not go any faster. Gasly is 5th. I mean, he does like Monza, but Gasly is 5th. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to be going faster, are they? Let's be honest. That worked out quite poorly in the end. Lewis Hamilton actually does go faster than Alexander Albon in the end, but Yuki Tsunoda starts 3rd. Clear skies for the race as well. No faff there. Well, 1 stop's viable. A 2 stop is slower. In theory, but I mean, looks like you can certainly push those tyres, which would be faster. The thing is, a 2 stop is 8 seconds faster in theory. What that doesn't factor in is getting stuck on traffic and potentially getting the benefit of DRS on faster vehicles if you sort of hang on to them up to here. Now, if they pit, of course, then that's a different situation. But, you know, there's only 1 second in this, and we know there's a way to sort of mitigate a little bit of tyre wear to maybe keep them a little bit more life in them by the end, and that's a very sort of strong 1 stop. In fact, it's the same pit stop, actually, looking at it. Imagine there's a more optimal lap for that. No. I'm tempted to do the 1 stop to go as long as possible. Both drivers, same lap. Incidents are likely at Monza. It's 1.9, so we'll go 1 lap under. We can always change to a 2 stop, of course. Like, we go into this planning the 1 stop, and if situation changes, we can go 2.
Yuki Tsunoda will be hoping things go his way today.
It's a P2 start for them, an excellent opportunity, and no doubt they'll be looking to grab it with both hands.
This should certainly be a good one, folks. Here we are at the oldest circuit in Europe for this, the Italian Grand Prix. And it's lights out and away we go.
I didn't clock it on the preview screen, but I'd forgotten about Max Verstappen's penalty. Yuki Tsunoda's in the lead. Yuki goes into turn 1 in the lead. Now, Perez has got the advantage on the outbound of that chicane. Now, it's whether or not Yuki's got the drive. Perez is on mediums. There's a yellow flag. That might be an incident, or it might just be... No, it is an incident.
Look,
is it both Hasses, or is it Max Verstappen involved? It's Max Verstappen.
Oh, and the car's there, unable to keep out of each other's way.
Max's fault, I think. Well, Max wasn't actually hindered there, and Magnussen got the penalty for it, so we'll come back. Unfortunately, Perez is in the lead at this stage. It's incredible that you're 2nd, Yuki. I mean, I need the thumbnail. It's Perez on the outside at this point, but it's remarkable that he's even competitive, quite frankly. I know it's better tyres. It says complete. It's not even actually completed by the time that highlight ended. Still go for it, bless him. Alex up to 7th? Or was Alex technically down to 7th? I think he started 6th. I think he qualified 7th, and then obviously Max is behind. Leclerc is already 11th. Did Norris gain a penalty? Because Piastri... Sorry, did De Vries gain a penalty? Because Norris and Piastri and Zhou all have penalties already. Hamilton goes up the inside of Sights. Doesn't make it stick. Similarly, Albon, I think, had a go at Alonso, but also didn't make it stick. I'm hesitant to take off the ERS here because I know as soon as I do, we'll lose. Kind of want to hold on to it as long as we've got ERS, because we won't get DRS until that straight next lap because of the position where it comes in. We've effectively run out at this point, so we kind of have to leave it there. I'm going to burn the tyres because I know the AI does, so I kind of want to go like for like on that front. I'm happy to take the fuel to like 2.5 under. Yuki's going to have a little bit more problem now, but if he's within a second of Perez by the time we get to that detection point up there, we're kind of cooking at that point. Yeah, all the other kind of soft starters, Magnussen's obviously had the incident, but and Verstappen actually, he's ruined his tyres, both of them have. But all the other soft runners are basically doing the same thing of slamming on these early 2 laps. You can see that there, look, they're all on 90% as well. Norris's smoothness is pretty solid, so that's why he's doing a little bit better. But you can see they've gone all out attack on theirs as well, which is why you drop back. If you go off full attack at the beginning, that's why you drop back. Albon's had a go at Alonso through that chicane, but hasn't made it stick. Has made it stick, kind of. So essentially, as soon as you start to see yourself deviate from everyone else's tyre wear is when you need to panic. Yuki's overtaking. Yuki's overtaking. We're deviating. They've come off. Hello? What is going on? I mean, I dare say, provided things stay roughly as they are in 50 laps time, the board might be happy with this. It'd be great if they turned up to this one. We can see we're starting to go under their tyre, so I think they've come off. Sargent's possibly not great. I think Sargent's smoothness isn't solid, but you can see they've started to come off theirs because their tyre wear is a little bit better now. So we're just going to try and avoid the risk was about to say, remarkably, Perez isn't making a move stick here, but there we go. He's through. We're not going for the win here. It's fun, but... Oh, I forgot about the fuel. That's a nice round number to have pulled off there. And we should probably start collapsing through this order. Unless there's an incident, of course. But we got our tyres in the operating window once again. 103 appears to be the cut-off, judging by Alex. I'm hoping the kind of DRS points on opposite sides of the track are going to work in our favour here. Alonso's outside the DRS of Albon, remarkably. I'm going to see if this kind of brings us more into line with targets. This is a little bit of a test of this approach to a race, because it's a one-stop race to begin with, but we're going to dip under even on a regular 3 push regardless. So I want to see if 5 and avoid does kind of work out roughly the same as 3, essentially. Max is going to have to pit very soon. There was a F1 swipe there, but no sign of a safety car or anything. So an incident with Hamilton and Gasly, is it? Yeah, he was up there. Hamilton with a penalty. Gasly's in 4th, but does he have damage? Is he missing an end plate on this side? I think he might be missing the end plate on this side. There's still a yellow flag. Not anymore. But that has allowed Albon to get within a second of Gasly. Now, Stroll's overtaken Alonso, but he's also on mediums. Tsunoda's maintained the lead, by the way. I don't know how. Magnussen's going to have to pit this lap, I think. And then do a 2-stop, essentially. Basically, it's just a 1-stop, but minus 7 laps for Magnussen now. So it becomes a 2-stop. But he's going to have to do effectively medium all the way and then soft all the way. Maybe he's got one more lap in him. But Verstappen's kind of out of it. Hamilton's got a penalty. Magnussen's out of it and with a penalty. So the regular interlopers... I mean, Max normally isn't in our race, but obviously this situation is making it a little bit more interesting. None of our rivals for 7th are in the fight either, because McLaren are there. Bottas is the closest in 13th, remarkably. So I'm waiting for the inevitable, that's Perez on Tsunoda. Leclerc, remember, who qualified 13th, is already 6th after lap 8. Lap 8. But Alex is having a go. Ooh, that's just clipping. Thankfully, it wasn't an accident. Tsunoda's actually dropped a 3rd, but he's fighting... Oh dear. That is a separate incident. Ocon, not thankfully in a kind of contest with anyone, just locks up, goes straight on. Now, normally, yeah, that's still a problem, clearly. They need to recode some of these lockups to actually take the slip road. Magnussen does finally pit, as Albon does take Gasly. We're 3rd and 4th.
Closer and closer to that podium. Now in 4th place.
I mean, that's mad. Like, the characteristics of this track do suit our car, and Tsunoda is remaining in touch, thankfully. Not for long, though. Leclerc's also got Albon in the meantime. Oh, literally just now, actually. That Ferrari is monstrous. That Ferrari is doing Red Bull things. He's gone from 13th to 4th, or 5th, apparently. No, he's 4th now. So Tsunoda's lost the DRS to begin with, so there's no point really pushing him at this stage. We might as well try and get that tyre wear. And as for Albon, he's still in a DRS train, so we'll just keep going with him. What's Bottas done? Turn 5, spun, I assume? Ooh, he's clocked the rear wing. Is he out? Or has he managed to get going again? I think he's managed to get going again. But he was doing okay. Now Sargent is the nearest pretender in 12th. And Hamilton's got a penalty as well, of course. Leclerc gets Tsunoda. Gasly gets Albon again. We're actually able to hold on whilst topping up, although Yuki's now lost that. Albon could probably go for a little bit longer because he's actually contesting with Gasly and staying ahead of Gasly whilst topping up, remarkably. Just trying to separate our 2 drivers out a little bit, just so we can... We're seeing so many of these highlights. I haven't really brought you any of them, but Gasly's in a straight fight with Albon right now. He's got Stroll for company, and I think that's Russell behind because obviously Hamilton had his moment. But we're kind of getting like alternating versions of this with Albon right now. It's lap 18. The pit window is 25, so we've still got to make 7 more laps somehow. I mean, everyone's in a similar boat, actually. Tsunoda's saved a little bit more than others. Verstappen's already pitted as well. He's ended up 17th, so he's probably going to start getting held up on people, hopefully. But there's going to be a part of this where we're going to have to say no to Alex and just hold on a bit and hope for the best. And hopefully that... Oh, Gasly's gone now. Gasly might be 2-stopping. Oh, that was an awkward time to have come back there. Right, so they've done his tyres entirely. And there's a safety car being deployed. Chassis and... Oh, God. Major damage for Alex. Do you reckon we can nurse one set of mediums to the end? Bearing in mind there's a safety car coming in, I think we might be able to just nurse one set of mediums. We've got 2 sets anyway, so if there's any incident later on... Tsunoda's here as well, which is the problem, but... Thanks, Stroll.
Now there's an inviting opportunity there. Oh, that's quite an impact between them.
That's even more baffling. He's actually got going again, remarkably, as Albon. Major chassis and suspension damage is going to be somewhat of a problem. There's no car part to actually change. but he's stationary. Oh, no, he is retired with the puncture. Well, there we go. There's a certain amount of points just vanished. Shows in ninth all of a sudden, but so Stroll's basically just murdered Alexander Albon there for zero reason. But everyone does pit. Bottas was lapped. I don't know what happened to him after his incident, but he got lapped in the end. But everyone pits. Everyone's gone on hards. Interesting. Fuel's back on Yuki Tsunoda, though. In fact, the fuel will be fully back by the time we actually get going again. If anything, we need to bring that tyre down. That tyre's getting overheated in the safety car train for some reason. We've ended up with 2 kilograms over here. Right, safety car in, and we've got the tyre advantage. No one else is pit stopping now. I think everyone came in again, actually. But Yuki fighting Leclerc immediately. Still fending off Leclerc. There's no DRS for a couple of laps, sadly, so I think those two are going to bolt in front. And we don't actually have enough ERS to do more than one lap on that. Oh, Bottas is broken. That's how he ended up getting lapped, I think. Because he's got that rear wing issue, hasn't he? Unsurprisingly, Leclerc does get Tsunoda eventually. Don't think we're going to get a podium unless the top two crash. But if we can get... Let's have a look. Verstappen is 6th all of a sudden. That's brought him back into this. Although he's on older hards, that might not reach the end if he's not careful. I'm looking at Gasly in 7th. De Vries is in 9th. That's more points for Williams. 7th, I think, is maybe a reasonable... Although Leclerc's just overtaken Tsunoda, which implies Tsunoda's overtaken Leclerc. I think they fought a little bit. Maxson back down to 18th again. He seems to not want to actually do anything in this race that is competent. Actually, it seems like the AI were just doing soft to hard as standard anyway, because Gasly has only done one stop. He didn't stop back in again under the safety car. I mean, he's going for it, is our Yuki. There's going to have to be a point where we give up on, pushing hard, but he keeps having a nibble at Leclerc. But Max is coming. I can see him behind Russell there. So I think ultimately we're going to have to accept this as a fight for... Well, this particular fight with Leclerc is actually for 4th and 5th rather than 3rd, because Verstappen will get through within 20 laps. It's difficult to know what speed to watch this in, because I keep expecting Yuki just to fall off. But it's our DRS that's keeping us in it. Now, we've gone 0.7 under there with fuel, having been 2 laps over, 2 kilograms over after the safety car. That was deliberate. We'll probably recover 0.7 by the end of the race. And that might be the difference between actually challenging Leclerc and just holding on for dear life through DRS sections. I think Leclerc just went on an aggressive lap there as well, because it looked like he did 3 personal bests. And he's done another personal... Yuki's done a personal best. Trying to hold on to his... No, he's gone. Leclerc's gone. So it's really just about building as much of a gap to Alonso in 7th as Russell and Verstappen will inevitably now take us. But we couldn't hold on to that pipe dream forever, as Bottas has already been caught by the leaders. Yeah, he is painfully slow now. By the way, I hope Stroll's outside the points. Yeah, he's 13th. Like I say, he needs punishment for his actions. He can't be rewarded for taking Alex out of a points-playing position. I'd be less annoyed if that wasn't a rarity for us. But because that was, first chance of double points, frankly. We've only ever got 9th before with one driver twice. I mean, Tsunoda's doing a solid job of holding Russell behind and actually still going faster than Gasly, it seems. We will go into tyre-saving mode at some point, but that point is not yet. I think actually Verstappen will make the end of the race. Based on our trajectory, we should just about hit the end of the race. But we'll keep up with this strategy until we're outside of a second of Verstappen, I think. I think Russell's just had a go. By the virtue of Russell having a go, I think he's inadvertently let Max Verstappen through on him. So now it's Max behind, probably, by the time this move resolves itself, which I suspect will soon mean Max ahead of Yuki. Damn. Still only 3 seconds behind Leclerc, remarkably. It's a sort of home race for Alpha Tauri, isn't it? Their true home race is Imola, but this is more the Ferrari home turf, I think. All right, there goes Verstappen, but we'll be in his DRS, so hopefully we'll get him to pull us along for a few laps now. I think no matter what, we're going to end this race with ties. It's just what quality. Okay, so Max Verstappen immediately drops Yuki, and now we've got the fight with Russell. Russell might be the one that we're kind of able to hold on to, or re-overtake, apparently. Just the drive off the first chicane. Yuki, the only man on mediums. Not bad. 13 laps to go. We are on the lead lap. We've recovered 0.3 of a kilogram within 7 laps, so 13 to go. We should be fine on fuel. Remarkably, Yuki's confidence is below where he started, somehow. I think if he gets the overtake on Russell, he'll be back above where he started, but it seems weird for a driver that's still in 6th to have below where he started just because he's gone backwards in the race. But that's the way this game works. Verstappen is closing on Leclerc simultaneous as well. Now he's re-overtaken Russell. That's a huge jump, actually, from being well below to well above the original marker point. With the gap to Gasly now 7 seconds with 12 laps to go. I wonder if the tyre advantage of being a mediums will wear off. I wonder if it's worthwhile just sort of hanging on to George for a bit rather than actually challenging him. Although we're now challenging him. Well, the good news is now, despite the fact he's just been overtaken, his confidence is now above where it started. So he must have pumped in some good lap times, I think. 7 laps to go. We're now 0.2 under, so we'll be fine on fuel. Maybe he did some successful defends, I don't know. I mean, he's not tracking supremely above where he needs to be. Brief lock-up for Zhou. And actually, as we head towards the end of this race, 3 laps to go, fuel now basically even. He might actually have enough on the last lap to actually have a go at something here. But he's actually had a go at Russell. I don't know if I should have watched that highlight, because I think it was actually after the DRS zone. Ooh, Russell got a little touchy there as we tried to lap someone. That's an interesting way to do that. Wow. Bottas. Yeah, they should have retired Bottas. I mean, I was tempted to retire Albon anyway, but I'm actually going to have to build a suspension, I think, because I only had 1 spare. And another chassis as well. I keep building chassis and they keep breaking them, but this time it wasn't our driver's fault. This is why I put the weight down on chassis and suspension. So 2 laps to go. Yuki's just about going to hit the pressure point, I think, for these times. VSC! That might see us through the remainder of these last 2 laps. That may have just secured us 5th. Wow! I thought the initial contact was mad, but the resultant one was even worse. That's Magnussen again, I think. That was a crazy incident. Both of them are out now. Not that it matters. They were the only ones ahead of Bottas. I think that's going to... Oh, he's actually gone to full safety car. So we're actually finishing this race under safety car. Yeah, they all end up with like 40% hards. Yuki's just got to the end of 30%. Just made it. He's not actually been on a void for these last few laps. One thing I did find out in that kind of little bit of experimentation there, as the safety car thing actually technically peels into the pits there, so we better just put everything up again, just in case there's a dash to the line issue. De Vries will get 9th. They didn't even get caught up. De Vries gets points. Thank God Albon got 2 more, though. Oh, Sainz won, of course. 2 Ferraris. 2 Ferraris on the podium in Monza when Leclerc started 13th. A little crazy. I'm surprised Verstappen didn't get him in the end. I'm actually going to do this review from over here because then you can see the ups and downs. It's a weirdly non-existent race for Hülkenberg, who started 14th and ended 14th. I don't know if he just ended up in the wrong place at the wrong time in terms of safety car. Yeah, I mean, De Vries must have been absolutely in the right place, right time to finish 9th in the Williams. But it certainly benefited Max Verstappen and it certainly benefited Charles Leclerc. Oh, actually, to be fair, all 5 of us. All 4 of us, I think, pitted straight away onto that safety car, caused by what was actually Alexander Albon's first DNF of the season. And I knew one was coming because there was no way the game was going to let me get to the end with those car parts. But there's no changes in the top 9. Pierre Gasly gets Hülkenberg and joins the top 10 and directly behind his teammate. And now we're going in team order from 5th downwards. Aston Martin, Mercedes, Alpine, 2 Haas's, and now 2 AlphaTauris because Yuki Tsunoda goes 13th with 10 points to make that 12. Nick de Vries joins his teammate in 16th now. Actually, has more points than his teammate now with 2, leaving only 4 without. And it brings Williams up to 8th in the championship, but we hold firm and solidify 7th now with 10 further points for 14 total. Still miles behind Haas and Alpine. It's a shame how, apart from Red Bull and Ferrari, how very distinct the next sets are, but because we only got 1 pit stop, we only got 1 pit stop in the DHL fastest as well. 4th, but still moves us up a place in that. More money, more points. And 4.5 million. Lovely, lovely money. I kind of forgot we're actually already building new suspensions, so I can't build the old suspension to replace that suspension that we just broke. But we need 2 really chassis to get us to the end of the season. But I'm just going to stick that on continuation, really. But because we're definitely going to need 2, but that's the only 2 remaining of that set. They're the only 2 suspensions of that kind left. There's still 2 reasonable gearboxes for the remainder of this season, and gearbox is obviously the cheapest one anyway. That was the only part that actually properly broke there. Actually, that was the only part that properly broke, was the gearbox. Okay, we're getting close to the end of Hamilton's contract. We're going to renew it rather than buying someone new just because we don't really have the money for it. Oh, I'm sorry, Jody. I didn't realise there was such a big gap between 81 and 86. Now, he does have a cost to break his contract, but, I mean, that should be accepted based on what it says, but we'll re-sign him at the latest moment if possible. It's going to warn me the entire time. Yuki, however, we need to do something with his contract. Okay, we're close. Again, everything is either good or neutral, still declined. There we are, that'll do us. Locking him into that kind of level of contract for 5 years is going to be really helpful. This is going to be a little bit more of a Yuki project now, I think. His potential is actually really, really good in the game, so he's going to be our project. I suppose there's only 4 more years, actually, thinking about it, because it's these last 3 months and then 4 years. But Arasa gets that. Actually, it's all Red Bull garage, I think. Arasa, Bologna, Hauger. So that's the feature race for Italy. And then the Formula 3 is actually just done. Mini wins to Saucy to Aaron. And the new ATR period is indeed open. So you can see here, as standard, it's already negating the stuff that we've already done. For the sake of a tiny bit of dirty air tolerance negation, we can actually add a little bit of extra weight and a little bit more durability to the rear wing to get it a minimum lifespan of 3 races. That's the thing. The better your pieces get, the more you can put durability-wise, because rear wings don't get crashed into quite as often. You can see that we've already effectively got quite high on that, so we'll bring that up to 69 by the end of the season. In fact, it might just be basically bordering on 70% total. And this will be our 4-engineer piece. 33 days gets us in just after Qatar, and we'll be able to build them probably for the last 5 races. I'm not going to rush it. I'm not going to spend any extra money on it. Beyond that, we're losing more low-speed potential next year, so we'll focus on that in these other parts in terms of research. And that leaves us with 20 million in the cost cap. And we're just going to basically have to hope for no more further crashes, because there's going to only be a little bit more manufacturing, not a huge amount. So we're going to get, in terms of just straight up stock building, it's just those rear wings after these are done. So I think we'll be okay. Then it's just replacement parts essentially for the rest of the season. Provided we don't lose like 4 engines at the end of the season, we should be okay on that front. But if you enjoyed this, then, I mean, what a race in the end. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal by now. It helps out so much. Until next time, thank you for watching. Ta-ra.